Typhoon Mawar, Philippine name Betty, continues towards the Philippine Islands. This impressive typhoon continues on a mainly westward heading, although it has weakened a little bit since our last update, but it is still a very powerful Category 4 on the Saffir-Simpson scale at 16.8 north, 131 degrees east. Right now it's packing winds of around 145 miles per hour, which is 230 kilometers per hour, a pressure of 929 millibars, moving nearly due west at 12 miles per hour, a heading of 281 degrees. This information up to date as of 8 p.m. Philippine time this May 27th, a Category 4 there with 145 mile per hour winds. That's midway through that category. So here's its position located on the map right now, and its wind field, which is getting quite large now. Northeastern side, the largest at 225 nautical miles on the northeast quadrant, 205 on the northwest. Signal 1 warnings are now in effect for northern Aurora and along the coast of northern Luzon, to Ilocos Norte on the northwestern coast, and for the Batanes Islands. It is 778 kilometers from Catanduanes, 954 from Santa Ana, 1027 from Basco, 1100 from Manila, and 1338 from Taipei. This storm could affect all of those areas, particularly further north. The northeastern part of Luzon particularly, and the Batanes Islands could get strong tropical storm or typhoon force winds. Primary hazards then are for those damaging winds, which will begin to affect those areas by Monday, probably in the afternoon evening hours, with typhoon conditions possible during the overnight hours into Tuesday. High seas and heavy rainfall will still be dangerous factors as well, although secondary, with accumulations of up to 300 millimeters in higher elevations of western Luzon, and the threat for rainfall in Taiwan is also increasing, which we'll see in a moment. Here's the forecast then for the next 5 days here, the next 5 to 7 days, moving gradually northwestwards, then it really slows down as we enter the new week, moving northwards, starting that recurvature, but the models and the forecasts are really uncertain as to what will happen next. Will it slam the Japanese islands and move northwards there, or will it continue on that recurvature towards the northeast? We don't really know yet, although it looks like it will go on to affect the southern Ryukyu Islands. 145 mile per hour winds right now, JTWC a little bit higher still, they're probably on their way down. JMA and Pegasa sticking with 130 miles per hour, though they usually go a bit low. But the ADT is actually in their favour as well, the automated Dvorak information, although I think it will rebound shortly because the storm is looking a little bit better again. So in conclusion there, I think 145 is a decent estimate. Signal 1 warnings for all of these areas marked in blue from the Pegasa website. You can see inland extending as far as Kalinga, part of Mountain Province, Abra and Ifugao, and for Nueva Vizcaya. And also for the northeastern coastline, of course, Cagayan's really sticking out there, could be at risk. Here's the GFS model showing the storm's expected turn towards the northwest. A very slow one as mentioned, and a slow weakening trend as well there. Still a Category 3 as it gets close to the Japanese islands, but then weakens a little bit more there, down to Category 1, and by the end of that loop, well, still just about a Category 1 typhoon as it passes those southern Ryukyu Islands and then enters the East China Sea. Now it's just one model scenario. We still have varying forecasts from southern Taiwan all the way around to a full recurvature and the storm passing to the south of the Japanese islands. But this is the latest GFS as mentioned. This is the rainfall profile, and you can see that parts of Luzon there, the northeastern part particularly, but some of the mountain ranges on the western side as well, getting quite a lot of rainfall, and northern Taiwan also possibly in the crosshairs there for some substantial rainfall as the storm draws near towards the end of that 7-day period. But watch again there, the eye of the storm this time as it moves towards the northwest, gradually getting larger, maybe an eye wall replacement cycle or two in there that will continue to weaken the storm gradually. Those sea surface temperatures take a drop as well as the storm gets closer to the Japanese islands and eventually will no longer support the typhoon. This is the rainfall estimation over the next 7 days as well, so this is the final totals that we'll be looking at during that period. You can see just how high those rainfall amounts get near the storm's track. Thankfully, it's not over land there. But look at some of those land areas. Western coast of Luzon getting quite a lot of rainfall there. Nearly up to 5 inches in Santa Ana there. That's over 100 millimeters, but possibly getting up above 10 inches, 250 millimeters in parts of western Luzon. Same too for Taiwan, the northern part, and for the southern islands of Japan, the Miyako and Yaeyama Islands, possibly getting up to 14 inches there, 350 millimeters displayed on that model run. Sea surface temperatures are decent for the time being and for a little while yet. They'll remain above 27 degrees Celsius at least for the next 3 or 4 days before really starting to drop off as it gets closer to those southern Ryukyu Islands and beyond, where those temperatures will drop to 25 degrees just off the northern coast of Taiwan. That'll be a bit too cold for the storm, and we'll see much more rapid weakening and eventually deterioration completely if it goes that way. If it does recurve, temperatures will also cool down there as well, so it doesn't really have much of a future beyond the Japanese islands. Satellite imagery though still looks very impressive when you look at this, and it is getting larger. You can see a big spiral effect there, probably dry air intrusion, quite a lot of it there on that northwestern side. You can even see it on the unenhanced infrared here. The eye still looking good though, an eye temperature of around 11 degrees Celsius. The eye wall though is starting to not crumble, but it is much weaker than it used to be. You can see it there, much less energy than what we were seeing previously. Cloud temperatures are up to about only barely getting into the minus 70s now, I think. So it is losing a lot of energy, and with that some of its strength as well, but it will be a gradual weakening process as it approaches the Philippine Islands, and a storm that should still be taken very seriously as it continues on its way in the next 3 days.